What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Kuempel of Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. I'm super excited. We have Kelly Travis zooming in from Las Vegas, Nevada, and she is a health and success coach. So Kelly, thank you so much for coming on my podcast. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell the audience a little bit about your background and all those good things.
Thank you first for having me. I'm excited to have this conversation over Zoom.
Yeah.
Well, the background is lengthy.
Okay,
but
so you can shorten it.
yes, but the points that really kind of informed the work that I do now are when I'm a competitive runner. So when I was in my, when I joined college, I was on scholarship. I ran competitively. Long story short, I had a really shitty coach. He, used to really pick at us in terms of our weight, and me having that perfectionist personality, wanting to please. What it resulted in is me dropping out of school, walking away from my collegiate career after becoming an All-American my second year, and being put into the hospital for a severe eating disorder.
Oh, God.
PICC line, organs failing, the whole 9 yards. And
Yes.
I had to move back home, and that was what happened. And it felt like a major failure.
Sure.
And while I was in the hospital trying to figure it out, right, I made a promise to myself that when I got healthy, I was going to spend my life helping women specifically with their mental, emotional, physical health.
Sure.
All of it. I didn't know what that was going to look like. And so when I did get out of the hospital and get back into college, I finished with a degree in public health with emphasis on mental health. And I really worked in addiction in some of those areas.
That is kind of like an addiction when you have an eating disorder.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And so what happened was I spent a couple of years in that space, and then I moved from North Carolina to Las Vegas, not really knowing what Las Vegas was all about.
Sure.
And so I actually ended up in corporate for 10 years in publishing. Okay. And you're probably very familiar with this. I had spent so much of my life, my identity was as an athlete. That's who I was. Kelly Travis was a runner. And so without that, then I dove into my career. And so then I was this professional, successful,
Sure.
Publishing person. And I just kept climbing the ladder. The lesson in all of that, and what I realized after 10 years when I found myself pregnant in an abusive relationship was,
Jeez.
I still hadn't really done the work to take care of myself, right? I looked healthy. I was training for the Olympic trials. I was doing all the things, but I was a hot mess.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the catalyst, the beginning of me going back to kind of the roots, doing the work on myself, really fully healing, and recognizing that I was chasing everybody else's dreams.
Sure.
I was following this traditional path and it wasn't working for me. And I needed to step outside of that to be not only happy and fulfilled, but to be healthy also.
Love it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're going to make me cry.
Aw.
That's a great story. So how long have you been a coach for?
Probably about 5 years, a little over 5 years. I mean, I was in counseling. I mean, I did a lot of social work years ago, but as a coach now, it's been about 5 years.
Is that what you do full time?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. So how many clients do you have?
I actually do I have a mastermind. So the base of my work is with a collective, a group community. So I do one-on-one with those folks. And then I also I do corporate work. So I go into organizations and help with health and goal setting and leadership.
Very cool. That has to be very fulfilling.
It is. It's fun. It's a lot to juggle right now during these times with 2 little ones at home. But we're making it work.
Exactly. That's all you can do. You just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other and just keep going.
Yeah. And accept the blows that come, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I would love to hear a little bit more so when you take on a client, what is your process in terms of understanding what their needs are and how to get them on the right path so they can do that internal growth?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm really against a lot of what is out there right now, which is very prescriptive, right? And you know this coming from like a fitness background, where it's like, this worked for me, so you should do this because it worked for me, and this is exactly what, and if you don't, then you're going to fail.
Right.
I don't work that way because I learned a long time ago that we're the CEO of this whole thing, right? And we are the only ones who know what we need, what helps us thrive, all of those things. But what has happened is we've lost that ability to trust that piece of us, right? To tap into that. We're on autopilot. We're ignoring all the feelings. We're just kind of zooming through and wanting somebody to just tell us what to do.
Sure.
I don't work that way. I meet people exactly where they're at, and I help them create what they need that looks different from anybody. I don't care what their goals are. I want to help them figure out what they are. But what I care most about is that they gain the confidence and are able to put together a plan for themselves that works for them.
I love that.
So what that looks like is a lot of like undoing and unlearning, right? Because we've been kind of spoon-fed this idea that we should do things a certain way and we should follow the rules and we should do all of that. And I am against all of that. But it takes time to undo that, right? And to give ourselves permission to do things differently. And when it comes to setting goals, which is a big part of what I do, I work from with the end in mind.
Sure.
So when we set goals, not, well, what's the next thing I'm supposed to do, right? Whether it's health or career or relationship related, it's how do I want to feel? And what goal is going to allow me to feel that way? Because what I learned years and years ago was that I would achieve a goal, whether it was professional or personal, and I would get there and I'd be like, why don't I feel happy? Like, why am I not excited about this? Right? And it was because I was chasing everybody else's goals.
Sure. That makes sense.
So we do a lot of that work.
That's kind of why I started my podcast and why it's called Label Free Podcast, because I really feel that people have a hard time stepping out of the societal standards. So I love that. What is one of the common goals amongst your clients? And I mean, I'm sure there's, I'm in a very happy place in my life. And when that process that you're talking about, I almost feel like it's kind of like as an athlete, that mind muscle connection, like learning how to find that mind muscle connection, because it takes such incredible focus and for like everything to line up and just to your whole body, like you're just connecting to your whole body. And I feel like to go on a journey with a coach is kind of almost figuring out how to have that mind muscle connection. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's so important. And flexing those muscles, right? It's that mental muscle. So foundationally, I firmly believe that we can't be fully successful if we aren't taking care of ourselves. So everyone I work with is working on that just as a foundation, right? So making sure that mentally, physically, emotionally, we're doing that work. Common goals, it really ranges. Lately is people just want to feel peace or calm, right? Probably because of what's going on right now. And they can't figure out how to feel that way because they've been hiding from those feelings of like feeling anxious and overwhelmed and all of that. Everybody usually has some sort of career business goal that they're working towards, but yeah, the theme lately is wanting to be able to let go. Yeah.
And that's an important thing to feel. So like after, my husband passed away and I went through like 5 years ago, and I've gone through a total journey of, not only the grieving process, but learning how just to be happy on my own and finding the peace that you're talking about. And that's just a lifelong battle. I feel like, because you're going to have some days or periods of time where life is just going to kick you in your ass and it's going to like knock you on your feet, and you're going to have to just like get yourself together and get yourself back on that path again. So And I mean, but once you figure out how to get there and you really start loving yourself and taking care of yourself, it's easier to find your way back. That's what I found.
No, I firmly believe that. And I think that when you can see clearly what it is you're trying to achieve, it's a lot easier to navigate all of the craziness around us, right? Because we can still see that where we're trying to get to, and we might have to pivot and take some detours, and it will be a shit show sometimes, but we have to be honest about that with ourselves, right? Like my life, I'm a coach, I do this work, but I'm a single mom with 2 little boys. It is messy. Like there is nothing perfect about what's going on. And I think when we can let go of that piece and say, like, I'm human, I'm going to feel the full range of emotions. Some days are going to be amazing. Some others are just going to really suck. That helps.
Yes, it does. I totally agree. So what's it like when how long are your courses? So if somebody signs up, do you have like specific plans, or does it really depend on the person?
So the mastermind, which is called Ascend, is a 9-month program. And it's because we get to really dive into big goals and then really tailor them and kind of pull back and focus on the day-to-day. And we're in community, and there are retreats and all kinds of fun things.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that goes for that period of time. But then I also do some one-on-one coaching, and that really it's a minimum of 6 months, because I feel like, and you're probably familiar, like it takes a little bit of time to build that foundation and dive in.
You have to be open to it too. You can't just bullshit your way through, because it's not going to benefit you, and you're going to find yourself back like right where you were before, miserable, unhappy, anxious, unsettled, blah,
Yes, really all of those words.
You have to be open to it. So let me tell you guys, if you are open, you hire her as a coach, you will probably find your best life ever, and you will always find your way back to peace and happiness. So I just had to do a little thing there for you.
Thank you.
So is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience? Maybe like your website, how they can reach you, what that looks like if they were interested in hiring you as a coach?
Sure. I am a firm believer that not everybody is the right fit, right? I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's cool. And so what I have monthly workshops that are free for people who are just like, this chick is cool, but I don't know, which gives people the opportunity to experience my coaching in a group setting without having to throw down money.
Sure.
And those happen once a month, and I can give you the link to provide.
Yes, I also might want to jump in one. I would like to.
Yeah, they're super fun. And then I have a podcast called She Doesn't Settle.
Okay.
And so aligned with Label Free, right?
Yeah.
And so, you can totally dive into a lot of the content there, talking about resilience and goal setting, and I geek out on neuroscience and mental health, obviously. So there's a lot of that.
I go through my phases. So we're very similar there, because I like to inform myself, because if I'm acting a certain way, I want to understand where that behavior is coming from, for me personally. So I feel like that's a great way just to kind of connect the dots with, how you're reacting to things.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, Ascend, there's information about that on my website, which I can give to you. And I do have a free goal setting, downloadable thing that people can grab.
Lots of resources here. It's amazing.
Yeah. I'm curious, not to put you on the spot, but I would love to know, because it's always be helpful for me. What helped you get out of that grief and move forward and get to where you are now?
So, there's not any one thing.
No.
I think it's a buildup of a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I was with my husband for almost half my life. Okay. And I watched him basically die in front of my eyes. So that really not only changed my outlook on health. I was a healthy person before, but I'm probably even more overly healthy now, just because I watched that whole descend of his health and his life and quality of life and all that stuff. And then after he passed away, I got into a really abusive, bad relationship. And, you know, because it was probably a good distraction because I had went through some legal battles, and I didn't allow myself to grieve because I was so caught up in this guy I was dating, you know. So I stunted my own growth when I could have probably been doing a lot of work on myself during that period. So then after I got rid of that bad boyfriend, you know, I jumped right into like going after one of my dreams. I became a fashion designer, and there was one like holiday season, probably like a year or two ago. I kind of was drinking a lot, you know, not like every day. But I was drinking to the point where I was just like waking up with like just feeling so shitty, not remembering what happened. And I didn't do anything. I was just at home, you know. So here I'm at home, just like drinking, watching TV, dancing around, and then just waking up the next day feeling like shit. And I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, I'm running from something, you know, like I need to deal with this. And so I just like kind of shut myself in for like a month, and I just started, you know, I'm a big believer in God. I started reading the Bible, started reading a lot of just different self-help books. And, you know, I've gone through different periods of like this in my life, maybe not this extreme where my life changed drastically and I'm on my own. Where my husband took care of everything. Like I didn't even have to like gas my car. Like my car would be washed, my car would be gassed every day. Like, you know, and just to like have to like just start doing everything for myself again was, and I was not inept in any way, but I, you know, I did more of the business, but everything else, like stuff around the house, like, you know, I didn't have to lift a finger. So, you know, just coming back to a place where to appreciate my strength and all of that, and not allowing myself just to fall. Like I could have fallen way worse, you know? But it was just, you know, I think you have to really take a look at yourself and decide who you want to be. You know, who do I want to be? Do I want to sit here and wallow in all the shit that's happened to me? Or do I want to just be like, you know, I'm a badass. Let's go. I'm ready. I want to be happy. And, you know, and I wake up, like this past week was really shitty. Like I had people like checking on me. My Facebook got hacked. Like I have no access to 4 of my business pages. I lost my job. And then I had a blowout with my boyfriend. And it was just like,
spiral.
Yeah. So I took Monday. I cried all day Monday. And then on Tuesday, I was like, fuck this. I'm getting up and I went to the gym. I'm like, I'm done feeling that. Okay.
Those little energy shifts are so important. We've got to like pull ourselves out of it, right? In whatever way works for us. But it's so important. And I love that story because I feel like so many times when we're in that vulnerable state, we step into things that are so bad for us, like the relationship. That's how I ended up in mine. And we lose our voice, right? Which was such a theme in my life where it was like, I wasn't using my voice. I wasn't standing up for myself. And you not only like found your voice, but you started to chase these big ass goals and knew that you had it in you. And I just love that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a journey. You know, it's all about the journey, not the destination, right? Like right now, I've you know, I wasn't too stressed about losing my job because I feel like it wasn't a good fit because not exactly the great they weren't doing really good business. You know what I mean? Evergreen contracts, they don't like let customers cancel and they don't want us to communicate that. I was just like, that kind of goes against the grain for me because I'm not that kind of person, you know? So I'm actually I've decided, I'm open to whatever.
Yeah, it's an opportunity.
I know. I'm so excited because who knows what's going to happen in the next month or two. This is going to be a good time. So I'm excited about it.
Well, and I always like to remind folks, like you're resilient. So you're not going to we got to get out of the catastrophizing. Like, you know, that worst case scenario, we were on the side of the road, naked in a ditch without a job.
Oh, I went there. Believe me, I went there for a minute.
Right. Well, we have to allow ourselves to go there, but then you reel it back in and you're like, I'm an intelligent, smart, successful, you know, I'm capable of, I could get a job at Starbucks if I needed to, right? You'll be fine.
Yes. Yeah, agreed. And it's also good to have a support system. Like I've allowed myself to be more vulnerable and tell my friends what's going on so that they will reach out to me and they will check on me because it's, you know, being vulnerable and letting people know where you are, not feeling sorry for yourself, but letting people know where you are to allow others to care for you when you need it is very important. And it's, you know, there at one point in my life, I always thought, I'm too tough. I don't need anybody's help. You know, I don't need anybody to check on me. But no, you definitely do. And that's why I think it's a good idea for people to find a coach that can help them get there. So
yeah.
You want to plug so what is your website?
Website is just kellytravis.net.
Okay.
That's where you can find the free workshop. You can get that freebie that I mentioned and learn about the mastermind. And also the podcast links are there too.
Fantastic.
So everything's there.
Do you
on
have
social media? I'm
no,
social media.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're saying the same thing. Yeah. I am mostly on Instagram at She Doesn't Settle. I'm not at She Doesn't Settle. Sorry, at Kelly T Health.
Okay.
And that's where I post usually.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap things up. Kelly, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited. We will have to do a follow-up in a couple of months after all this craziness and see how your business has shifted and what else, just like a reintroduction to the audience. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Kuempel of Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And I will be back soon with some more incredible dynamic guests.